Welcome back to our music theory instructional videos with Sarah Crow. And today we are going to talk about the building blocks of every chord. And you may say, every chord? Yes, every chord. So the building blocks of every chord. Now, in previous lessons, we have talked about the basic interval, the most basic intervals that we have, and that's half steps and whole steps. So, and we also talked about how to determine the size of an interval. Okay, we have intervals in number, thirds, fourths, fifths, sevenths, whatever you want to throw in there, how to determine their size. We include their letter numbers, their letter names of the keys, and then include the first one and the last one in our intervals. So today we're going to be talking about the building blocks of our chords, and that is the interval of thirds. Now we have two types of thirds that comprise each type of chord that we're going to discuss today. So I'm going to hop up to the board here, and we're going to be talking about the major third over here, which is designated by a capital letter. Anytime you see a capital letter, uppercase, Roman numeral, those indicate major. Okay, sometimes you'll see Roman numerals in your music, and they may be uppercase or lowercase. Whether they're uppercase or lowercase, that determines whether they're major or minor. Same with your letters. Sometimes you will just see like the letter D, a capital D, that indicates a major D chord. If it's a lowercase letter, then it's a minor chord of that name. So these are designated. This is a major third, capital M3. This is a minor third, lowercase m with a 3. Okay, so we're going to designate that and just let you know that's standard throughout music. All right, the major third is comprised of 4 half steps. We talked about half steps before. It's from one note to the very next note. A minor third is comprised of 3 half steps. Okay, so we're going to be building some chords today, and I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like on the piano. So we're going to go back down here to the keyboard, and we're going to have a major third. So a major third is comprised of 4 half steps. So I'm going to start here. 1 half step. Okay, here's my starting note. 1 half step, 2 half step, 3 half steps, 4 half steps. Okay, it's a very consonant sound, a very pleasing sound to the ear. This is a major third comprised of 4 half steps. Okay, now in order to get a minor third, I'm going to lower this note and take away that 4th half step and only make it 3 half steps. Okay, slightly sad. Some people say that, you know, major music is happier sounding and minor is a little bit sad, and that is true. There is a mood in music, but with that being said, major and minor is like anything that we have in nature. We have ebb and flow in the tide. You have high points and low. For everything that goes up, it's got to come down. There has to be an opposite principle as well. So in music, we have, even if something is written in a major key, we still have minor chords and minor intervals in that. So the minor is very important as well. All right, so we're going to go down here and we're going to do another major third. Okay, here's a major third from A flat, 4 half steps up to C. Okay, now if I make that minor, okay, you can hear the difference between the major, very pleasing, the minor, still pleasing, but a little bit sad, okay, for lack of a better term. All right, and that can be done at any place. Here's another one. Okay, here's a major third, minor third. Okay, so it's very easy to calculate your thirds. Now, in order to determine what a chord is, sometimes you'll hear people throwing terms about, especially people who've had some kind of musical education. They talk about, oh, this was major, or this was minor, or this was the really scary ones, augmented or diminished, and you have no idea what that means. We're going to talk about those 4 types of chords today. So obviously, they are all built of these 2 intervals, either the major third and the minor third. Okay? The major third and the minor third are the building blocks of all your chords. So, for the first one, we're going to do, I'm going to go back up here to the board, and we're going to go over this. Every major chord is built of a major third plus a minor third. Okay, the major third will be on the bottom. The minor third will be on the top. All right, so we're going to go down here, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. Okay, so here we have, okay, here's my major third, and then I'm going to use this as my starting point and go up another minor third, 3 half steps. It's really hard to see. Okay, this is the C major chord. Okay, I've got a major third here and a minor third here. Okay, so if I just played this, you can see here's when I put it together with the major on the bottom and the minor on the top, major third on the bottom, minor third on the top, that gives me a major chord. All right, super simple. I go back up here to the minor chord. All right, if I have a minor chord, my minor third is going to be on the bottom, and then I'm going to put the major third on the top. So minor third on the bottom, major third on the top is a minor chord. And we're going to come up here and do this. Okay, so here we're going to do it here. Here's my 3 half steps. Okay, you hear the difference in that? This is a minor chord. Hear that sound and learn to recognize that sound. Now, if we just change that middle note and raise it a half step, the chord becomes major. Okay, so by lowering a major chord, lowering the third of a major chord, you have a minor chord. All right, now you say, wait, you just said third and we're dealing with thirds. Yes. Okay, if we look at the interval of any major chord in its root position, and I can explain that maybe in another lesson, you have a root, the note you start on, the third, fourth, fifth. Okay, so from here to here is a fifth, the interval of a fifth. Okay, so I lower the third, and it becomes a minor chord. I hope that is very clear, and that can be repeated anywhere. All right, we can do it in A flat, C, E flat. It's a major chord. Lower that C to a C flat, and I have a minor chord. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the tricky ones. To augment anything means to make it larger. So by definition, instead of having a major and a minor, we're going to have 2 major thirds in the augmented chord. This has a unique sound as well. So we're just going to start right here on C. Here's your third, your first major third. Okay, you hear that? Totally different than your major. Here's your major, minor, and then augmented. It has a a not quite resolved tone. It wants to go somewhere. You hear that? Okay, so it wants to go somewhere else. An augmented chord leads into something else. All right, and then the last chord that we have is the diminished chord, comprised of 2 minor thirds. Okay, this also has its own sound. Okay, so we're going to go, here's our first one, and then we add another one. All right, now let's do another one. Okay, you hear the difference in that sound. It has kind of a mournful sound because it's comprised of 2 minors. It will also lead somewhere else. So in the end, we're going to do this in the key of C. Right here, we have a major chord, the minor chord, the augmented chord, and the diminished chord. Okay, those are the 4 types of chords that we have. Now, of course, you can add, if you want to do, some of you may have heard major, minor, 7th. Okay, that's a major chord. So major chord with a minor 7th tacked on the end of it. Okay, there's a major, major 7th, which is also shortened to major 7th, which is very dissonant. And we also have diminished chords. Diminished 7th. Okay, so there's lots of variations, but those are all comprised of your basic building blocks, the major third and the minor third. So learn what those are, learn how to determine if a chord is major, minor, augmented, or diminished, and go practice it.